立法會主席
The President. Motion debate on the 2025 policy address. Members have been informed that the motion debate will be held in 4 sessions. I'll first call upon Dr. Starry LEE to move the motion, and the first session will then begin. Each member may speak once in each session, subject to the total speaking time limit of 15 minutes for the 4 sessions. Dr. Starry LEE, as the mover of the motion, will have an additional 15 minutes of speaking time for moving the motion and making her reply. In each session, I'll first call upon members who wish to speak to do so. I remind members that their speeches in the debate session should be confined to the policy areas specified for that session, so that the public officers responsible for the policy areas concerned can respond to members' views in the relevant sessions. After members have spoken, if necessary, I'll suspend the meeting for 10 minutes for public officers to prepare their responses. Only public officers may speak when the Council resumes. If public officers consider the suspension of meeting not necessary, I will call upon them to respond immediately after members have spoken. After public officers have responded, the debate session will come to a close. The total speaking time limit for public officers in the 4 debate sessions is 4 hours. After the conclusion of the 4 sessions, I'll call upon Dr. Starry LEE to reply. Then members will vote on the motion. The debate on this motion will be held over 3 days. I will adjourn the Council after the conclusion of the motion. I now call upon Dr. Starry LEE to speak and move the motion. President, I move that the motion that this Council thanks the Chief Executive for his address, as printed on the agenda, be passed. This is the 4th policy address delivered by the Chief Executive. The theme is deepening reforms for our people, leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. The PA seizes the important opportunity presented by the successful conclusion of the National 14th Five-Year Plan and the preparation for the 15th Five-Year Plan. We are at the critical juncture of moving from stability to prosperity. The PA promotes deeper and broader reforms, a more forward-looking vision and a broader perspective. It charts the course for Hong Kong's future development. The PA embodies the spirit of innovation and reform that characterizes the CE's tenure over the past 3 years. It stresses the need to leverage the national and international opportunities under one country, two systems, to drive high-quality development, deepen international exchanges and cooperation, and integrate into the overall development of our country. The PA implements what President Xi Jinping called for at this year's 2 sessions, that is, scientific and technological innovation and industrial innovation are the fundamental pathways for developing new productive forces, and that enhancing education's role in supporting science and technology and talent development. It focuses on the dual pillars of economic development and improving people's livelihoods. The PA proposes a series of groundbreaking and innovative short, medium, and long-term policy measures and comprehensive strategic deployments to open up new opportunities and inject new impetus for Hong Kong. Good policy measures must be implemented through a sound and effective administrative systems. Enhancing governance system, enhancing governance capabilities, and strengthening governance effectiveness are the key directives from President Xi for the SAR government. The PA proposes several measures to strengthen its governance, including establishing the heads of department accountability system, the civil service appraisal mechanism, and the AI efficacy enhancement team. It introduces the market-based approach to enhance government efficiency. The PA upholds a result-oriented culture. It covers 140 KPIs, including 79 new ones. This will allow legislators and citizens to monitor the progress and effectiveness of the key measures. I hope the current term government will enhance its governance standards and strive for excellence on an ongoing basis. The relationship between the executive and the legislature is an important topic that the chairman of the House Committee raises every year when moving this motion. As the chief executive pointed out, under the principles of executive-led government and Patriots administering Hong Kong, both the executive and the legislature have the duty to lead society in further deepening reforms. During this session, the executive and the legislature continued to interact and collaborate with each other through the CE's interactive exchange, Q&A sessions, and the anti-chamber exchange sessions in formulating and developing major policies. The anti-chamber sessions have incorporated new elements based on the LegCo panels. Relevant bureau directors and panel chairs discussed agenda items prior to the meetings. This enhances the effectiveness of the exchange sessions and enables members and the relevant panels to follow up on the issues more effectively. Under the improved arrangement, members offered valuable insights on key areas of Hong Kong's development, including establishing Hong Kong as a hub for international high-caliber talent, advancing Hong Kong as an international education hub, Hong Kong's role as an international legal and dispute resolution service center, Hong Kong's role as a regional IP trading center, advancing the development of the loop and the application of AI. These efforts support the government in continuing to lead Hong Kong towards progress and change, so that we can focus on boosting the economy and pursuing development. On livelihood issues, members discussed with relevant policy bureaus to streamline procedures and reduce construction costs, promote urban-rural integration in the northern metropolis, regulate basic housing units, and combat public housing abuse. This addresses public needs and aspirations. The views expressed by members at the anti-chamber sessions were taken on board by the government. This helps the government to be more practical when formulating major policies. This enhanced the positive interaction between the executive and the legislature to achieve good governance. Also, the Deputy Chair of the House Committee and I will continue to serve as the communication bridge between the Council and the executive authorities. This is the last year of the 7th-term LegCo. The Deputy Chair and I paid particular attention to the timetable for introducing bills to this Council. We have been liaising closely with the Chief Secretary for Administration, so that the government will submit most of the bills to LegCo during the first half of the year. And this enables members to have more time to learn about the bills and for deliberations. We ensure that all policy bureaus cooperated with the bills committees so that we could speed up the efficiency of the scrutiny work. I would like to thank the Chief Secretary for following up all the issues we raised. I also thank directors and secretaries for attaching importance to members' views. We see that the administration took on board a number of views raised in the anti-chamber interactive sessions as well as panels and during the bills committees. In terms of speeding up development, the administration took on board members' views again. It proposed having dedicated legislations for the development of the northern metropolis, promote the construction of a university town, and adopting a build and construct model to speed up the development of the loop. Through land grants, tax incentives, and talent cultivation, the government promotes emerging industries like AI and data science. It strives to develop Hong Kong into a low-altitude economy hub in the Asia-Pacific. Regarding the measures closely related to people's livelihoods, again, the administration took on board members' views. For example, it is introducing a smart green mass transit system. It reduces construction costs and is deepening healthcare reforms to strengthen primary healthcare and GBA collaboration. It seeks to enhance support for caregivers and formulate strategies to address population aging. Through the high quality and efficient operation of this council. We have passed 40 government bills this year. This is impressive. These bills cover matters relating to enhancing people's well-being. There are also bills that are crucial for the social and economic development of Hong Kong. For example, there was the Basic Housing Units Bill, which helps to address the long-standing problem of substandard SDUs. Also, there are bills concerning the new titles registration system and bills that promotes tobacco control measures and strengthen efforts to combat abuse of public housing. Next year, we will resume the second reading debate on regulating ride-hailing services to address the issue that has troubled various sectors for years. This council is the first to be formed after the full implementation of the improved electoral system and the principle of Patriots administering Hong Kong. As a member of this council, I feel deeply honored. This term of the council is coming to a close, and I've been privileged to witness in my capacity as chair of the House Committee over the past 4 years, the legislative and executive branches working together to reshape a new landscape of good governance. We have been able to transform the policy blueprint into tangible results. I believe that in the coming 3 days of the debate, members will actively express their views on the vision and measures proposed in the PA in various policy areas. I hope the Chief Executive and the Secretaries and Directors will listen carefully to the views presented by members and follow up in a timely manner. I believe that under the leadership of the Chief Executive, the executive authorities will continue to work hand in hand with the next LegCo to open up a new chapter of good governance. We are facing unprecedented changes in a century. The 14th five-year plan holds pivotal significance for our nation as it embarks on a new journey of modernization. Hong Kong, too, is at a critical juncture of economic transformation with the one country, two systems. If we are bold to innovate and enhance our value and competitiveness and more proactively align with the overall development strategies of our country, Hong Kong will surely go further, as Director Sha Baolong has envisioned, will achieve new glory in the process of building a strong nation and realizing national rejuvenation. President Xi said reform is meaningful only when it is for the people. The CE stressed that improving people's livelihood is the ultimate goal of his administration. I believe that enabling people to enjoy better lives and achieve greater economic development are the original goals of the legislators. Let's keep our original goals in mind, take proactive responsibility and respond to people's calls, and work together to advance the policy measures and long-term plans outlined in the PA. Let's boost our economy, pursue development, and improve people's livelihood so that together we can create a better future for Hong Kong. President, I so submit. I now propose the question to you that Dr. Starry Lee's motion be passed. We're entering the first session. Those who would like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. The debate themes of this session are deepen reforms and committed to people's livelihood, steadfastly and successfully implement one country, two systems, strengthening our governance systems, development of the Greater Bay Area. The policy areas covered in this session have been set out in the script for members' easy reference. Mr. Gary Chen. Thank you, President. In this year's policy address, the Chief Executive in areas of economy and people's livelihood have proposed a number of measures. They are practicable and they respond to people's needs. The Chief Executive also focused on economy and people's livelihood as the two major pillars. And this is in line with the goal of pursuing economic development and addressing people's livelihood issues of the DAB. The CE continues to be open in terms of his attitude. It has taken on board 60 suggestions made by the DAB. This includes making use of AI to enhance government efficiency to build a smart government. The PA also proposes speeding up the development of low-altitude economy, green new energy economy to inject new impetus for Hong Kong's economy. The DAB highly recognizes this policy address. We will fully support the SAR government in implementing the various policy measures. The most important part of the PA is, of course, the development of the Northern Metropolis. We agree that there is a need to have dedicated legislations to streamline existing administrative measures and procedures to achieve breakthroughs as we are facing bottlenecks. This will unleash the great potential of the Northern Metropolis. The PA also highlights how the government is going to adopt special arrangements to speed up the development of the Northern Metropolis. This is not just included in the PA. In fact, 3 working groups have already convened meetings under the Committee for Developing Northern Metropolis. Works have been taken forward in an orderly manner. We hope that we will yield results soon so that the entire society will be able to see the meaning and significance of developing the Northern Metropolis so that the entire community can share the fruits of the development. In terms of new energy development, the PA actively responds to our suggestions. It proposes building the Greenfield Bunkering Center in Hong Kong and promote the transformation into low carbon emission. It also proposes establishing a sustainable aviation fuel base to reduce carbon emission.
The strategy of hydrogen development will promote wider application of hydrogen energy in Hong Kong. We need to have comprehensive plans to promote the infrastructure development of new energy economy. There's also wide coverage in the policy address on various social welfare and society support policies that would include employment. We have suggested setting up a hotline to report illegal workers, and the policy address included our suggestion. There is a target of 2 occupations for the enhancement measures. We have recently the Secretary for Security holding its first meeting on the dedicated workforce to combat illegal workers, and within the first 2 weeks, 100 reports were received. We hope that the working group can actively follow up on the reports and punish the employers who have engaged illegal workers and, of course, the illegal workers, so that citizens know our stance against illegal workers and protect the local labor market. On labor, we have seen the policy address launch some measures on importation of labor. We believe with the measures, we can better combat abuse of the mechanism and better help those who actually need imported labor to respond to the challenges they face. With good policies, we need them to be effective and pragmatic. We need to consult enterprises to understand their needs for labor. We also need to have a better understanding of the actual situation of the labor market so that we can better understand the needs and make adjustments to the labor importation schemes so that we can be flexible while protecting local labor interests and enterprises' interests. Right now, in the local economy, we have different occupations facing different situations. We have some facing difficulties. We have some doing quite well. So the government taking a targeted approach is necessary and appreciated. I do note in the policy address in future there will be $30 billion it is an additional expenditure on works projects that would support the manufacturing industry and boost the economy. I think that will definitely help society. It will also boost the construction industry. With the development of the northern metropolis, we will need to have a prospering construction industry. This is also facilitating long-term development of the city. But we also need to understand whether the investment will bring immediate benefits. If all $30 billion is spent on long-term infrastructural investment, the small and medium-sized contractors cannot really benefit from this. We also noted before the immediate benefits are not felt by the smaller firms, and we have seen with the government being in a tight fiscal position, the small and medium-sized livelihood works projects are suspended or delayed. That has really hurt citizens. If we can have the $30 billion, at least part of it, being used in small and medium-sized livelihood work projects so that citizens can really feel the government's determination to provide care to the community. This will enhance the sense of belonging and happiness of citizens. It will also be balancing the development of economy while improving people's livelihood. We also need to do more to tackle the challenge of an aging population. We have all along promoted the principle of allowing the people to take their money with them. And I'm glad that we have in the policy address some enhanced disbursement arrangements. And there are a number of support measures in the policy address, but we have no details at the moment. I hope that the details can be announced soon. On healthcare, the policy address said we will have the promulgation of primary healthcare standards in the whole of Hong Kong, and we would have the expedition of the construction of district health centers in the city. We have elderly persons waiting long for such basic facilities. We hope that a comprehensive network can be constructed to provide a safety net for elderly persons as soon as possible. On housing, it is something of great concern to citizens. We have in the policy address some measures to construct a more comprehensive housing ladder. Some have called for the reinstatement of the tenants' purchase scheme. The policy address did not mention anything of the sort. We do understand the government needs time to consider the option carefully, but I also note the Secretary for Housing recently said a long-term study will be commenced on the potential reinstatement of tenants' purchase scheme. I think this is a good direction to take. We hope that the government will commence discussions soon. We will maintain close liaison with the government to find a solution to solve the housing problem. On transportation, the policy address has some comprehensive plans on the Northern Metropolis transportation network. There's also the introduction of smart and green mass transit systems. It shows how the government is taking an infrastructure-led approach. This has laid the groundwork for long-term development of Hong Kong. But we also need to think about short-term issues. We have observed for the science park, they have been a frontier in driving development of the INT industry. We note that there are many staff members that are commuting across the boundary. and we will see an even greater demand when the loop is in full operation. However, we have not seen concrete plans for the Pak Shek Kok Science Park Station still. It has been delayed 3 times already. For those living and working in the area, it is something that they want desperately. We hope the government can announce the details soon. Transportation is an important pillar for the development of industries. If we do not have a comprehensive transport network, it will really dampen talent's interest in working in Hong Kong. I hope that the government can do something about this as soon as possible and flesh out a proposal with the MTRC to provide a comprehensive transport network in the area. President, we have seen there being uncertainties in the external environment. We have seen bullying exerted on us, but I appreciate how the chief executive is still adopting a forward-looking and innovative approach, keeping an open mind and tackling the different issues we face. I hope that with the leadership of the government and concerted efforts of society, we can create a harmonious environment for development, and we can continue to move forward while deepening reforms. My various colleagues of the DAB will speak in future on different areas. I speak on behalf of the party to support the policy address. Thank you. Mr. Chan Siu Hong. I speak in support of the motion proposed by Dr. Starry LEE. We have the theme of the policy address being deepening reforms for our people, leveraging our strengths for a brighter future, mainly covering 2 areas, the economy and the livelihood issues. I appreciate the chief executive taking into consideration my different suggestions and incorporating them in the policy address, including the setting up of the AI and Efficacy Enhancement team, promoting the development of an ecosystem in low-altitude economy, doing more remote cost control, and deepening the culture of occupational safety and health, etc. I do appreciate the government taking the approach of deepening reforms further. Let me first give my views on the heads of departments accountability system and the AI efficacy enhancement team. I appreciate the government taking a result-oriented approach and continue to be committed to deepening reforms. We have a good civil service establishment. We are ranked 2nd in international rankings. The government is determined to deepen reforms by launching the heads of departments accountability system to make the existing accountability regime more systematic, and it is emphasized that heads of departments must have proper or active management of their teams and lead senior government officials in their operations. This accountability system is an important step for the reform of the culture of the government, and it is the active implementation of a facilitator thinking. We need to, in particular, focus on works projects. We need to have the responsible departments taking ownership and practice strict cost control and monitor the progress, so that when they are supervising works projects, it's like they're spending their own money. They should practice strict cost control. I appreciate how the chief executive is committed to deepen reforms. We should promote ownership thinking to the whole civil service. I have all along been advocating for the government to make use of technologies to have more accurate estimates of works projects. I understand that the chief executive will launch a cost control digital platform and formulate a database for market prices and make use of AI to conduct analyses to make sure their estimates are cost effective. I also appreciate how the chief executive takes into view my suggestion of having centralized procurement. I suggest in future we should have the central procurement platform to centrally procure materials to achieve cost effectiveness. I will speak again in other sessions. Thank you, President.
Dr. Tik Ji-yun. President, the government is supposed to serve the people. The government is accountable to the people for its performance. That's why I want to discuss how we can move towards an accountable government. This is not just about outcomes of governance. It's also about restoring public confidence in the government and changing the international perception of the SAR government. 3 essential factors are vital for an accountable government. First, public accountability. Second, broad-mindedness to tolerate different views. Third, public participation. First, public accountability. We welcome the prominent position of the heads of department accountability system. For far too long, the bureaucratic inertia informed by risk aversion has been there for far too long. So there has been way too much feet dragging, and then plans fell by the wayside. For the accountability system to work, we will need clear and visible performance indicators. That's the first step in public accountability. In terms of the structure, the HOD accountability system needs to be an integral part of the bigger system involving also the principal officials accountability system. There should be a clear performance-linked reward and punishment system. There should be clear delineation of roles and responsibilities for bureau directors and permanent secretaries. Everything needs to be part of a bigger picture and closely linked to each other. There's also a social dimension of the accountability system. The government is supposed to serve the people. Civil servants and government officials are accountable not just to LegCo, but also to the public. There has to be solutions, risks, deadlines, so that the public can monitor the government's performance. The public has views on performance and outcomes. There should be surveys, and these surveys should be part of the appraisal of government officials, so that accountability comes with outcomes and consequences. The government needs to be broad-minded enough to tolerate different views. Hong Kong is a diverse society. It's like a symphony orchestra. You have violins, pianos, flute, and also timpani. The conductor of an orchestra finds the harmony involving so many instruments, and that's how they can achieve a symphony. The government needs to embrace divergent views. Public criticism should be treated as an opportunity to improve. There should be positive responses to criticism. There should be explanation and adjustments. That's how you can win public minds. During the spring and autumn period, an official of the Zheng Kingdom said this: "When you realize something is wrong, you should fix it." This official realizes the importance of popular opinion. The government should encourage public participation. Participation is a civic right and obligation, because public participation can improve outcomes in democratic governance. Public participation and transparency can foster public consensus. This can lead to individual empowerment, social cohesion, and social harmony. So institutionally, we should allow public participation, especially that of young people. The government has more than 500 advisory committees. These committees are a key vehicle for gathering public views. They should reflect the views of people from different demographic groups. So in appointing members to these advisory committees, we should not simply appoint the same group of people. Otherwise, you get an echo chamber and the government will miss its blind spots. President, the government is leading Hong Kong from stability to prosperity. We can see our officials' effort, but that's not enough. We need an accountable government. We need community-wide mobilization to foster social prosperity. Officials 2,000 years ago knew the importance of public opinion. Today, we should also see that we need institutions that accommodate different views and public participation. And only then we can have a capable government that enjoys international trust and public trust. Mr. Martin Liao. President, this is the fourth policy address of the Chief Executive. The theme is deepening reforms for our people, leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. The PA covers a lot of ground. It shows the government's determination to support economic development and improve people's lives through short-term, medium-term, and long-term measures. Public finances are strained. Against this backdrop, most measures under the PA involve no extra expenditure, such as measures to improve governance, the HOD accountability system, the AI efficacy enhancement team, and also the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis. Relaxations are also proposed, such as pilot schemes under the Housing Department for owners of subsidized site flats to rent out their units to eligible white form applicants as long as they pay the premium. There is no extra public expenditure involved, but this is already great help. As for measures that do cost extra money, such as supporting the local construction sector, in the next 5 years, each year, we will spend not just $120 billion each year, we will set aside an extra $30 billion each year to support SMEs. Even with the strained finances, the government demonstrates commitment, and this leaves industries overjoyed. So for this session, I want to focus on strengthening the governance system. We're at the critical juncture, going from stability to prosperity. President Xi Jinping had this to say: the Chief Executive and the SAR government are primarily responsible for running Hong Kong. The Chief Executive brought in new thinking. We shifted from the positive non-interventionist thinking of the past. We're now better combining a capable government with an efficient market, and we now have a result-oriented culture. The efficacy of a government hinges on execution, and execution requires management and accountability. That's why I support the HOD accountability system, because we are systematizing and institutionalizing the accountability of heads of departments. There will also be a more vigorous civil service appraisal system. We will be shifting from a system where 99% of civil servants get their incremental jumps. This can help boost civil service morale and also raise departmental operational efficiency. In 1999, we streamlined the civil service structure. We ditched the pensions, and then in 2002, we brought in the Principal Officials Accountability System. The HOD accountability system is the third overhaul of our civil service structure, and this marks a new stage in the governance of the civil service. For this new accountability system to work, the design and the execution matter. I look forward to more details, such as the specific appraisal standards, the corresponding rewards and punishment, and also how we expand the functions of the Public Service Commission through subsidiary legislation. We need more clarity on whether the Tier 2 investigations will be made public for public monitoring, and whether the investigation panel's recommendations will be binding, and whether there is an appeal mechanism. We all know that artificial intelligence is key to driving digitalization. AI-empowered public services can raise quality and efficiency. The PA moves with the times by proposing an AI efficacy enhancement team. I support this proposal. Early this year, DeepSeek emerged. Many mainland governments announced incorporating DeepSeek into their operations. In Futian district in Shenzhen, they used DeepSeek covering 11 types of 240 government service scenarios, covering services from end to end. Deep integration of AI and their own knowledge base, they proceeded with secondary development. Shenzhen has realized the use of AI and this integration of AI services alongside with human-based services, and they are offering a new model of government services. As long as we ensure security in our services, I hope we can adopt greater AI, more AI technologies in our services, especially for SMEs, and also providing better services for the public. That's all I wish to say for this session. I will have further remarks to make in the next session. Mr. Kenneth Leung. This policy address is about deepening reforms for our people, leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. On industrial transformation and delivering for the people, there are short-term, mid-term, and long-term measures. This PA is pragmatic, detailed, and also in line with a bright vision. This can also inspire confidence among our young people in the PA so that the community as a whole, including young people, will be better off. As President Xi Jinping said in his reply to a letter from students from the Poikyu Secondary School, young people should go out into the world, find out about our country's history and culture, and nurture patriotism so that they can contribute to national rejuvenation. So for this session, I want to discuss nurturing patriotism among young people. I want to share my thoughts so that our measures on this regard can be more targeted and pay off sooner. To foster patriotism, patriotic education is vital. We want our young people to find out about our country. We want to foster cultural identity with our country. Patriotic education is now a key part of our education. I welcome that. The PA this year also puts patriotic education in a prominent position. It focuses on experience, national pride, and a sense of ownership in a multi-pronged approach to foster patriotism. The direction is clear and the strategy is sound. Paragraph 28 of the policy address proposes incorporating patriotism in the day-to-day learning and teaching. There is the values education framework. There are also enhancements to the senior secondary history and Chinese history education framework. And there are also schemes on school ambassadors on the basic law. So we focus on both classroom learning and the school atmosphere. This way, students can learn from those ambassadors so that on schools you have this rich atmosphere of patriotism so that people can learn from that, internalize the values, and then they can develop the proper values in life. In this digital era, I hope the government can dig deeper into this space. To commemorate the 80th anniversary of the War of Resistance, the Education Bureau ran a roving education. so that students could interact with the AI model based on the anti-Japanese guerrilla warriors. This is in line with the learning habits of our young people, and this can motivate learning, deepen young people's understanding, so that patriotic education will make a greater impact and become more appealing. Paragraphs 25 and 26 of the policy address propose a journey focusing on the PRC's founding. This is another highlight. We will work with Shenzhen on red learning experiential journeys. This will also feature exchange tours with the mainland. There will be at least 40 red education itineraries. This is in response to community calls for hardware and software support in patriotic education in recent years. Hong Kong and other parts of the GBA played a role in our country's history. They are relics. They have unique value. We can link them together as a part of a learning experience. So let's further enhance these elements so that we can incorporate these elements into the citizenship and the social development subject. Let's set up dedicated education activities for Hong Kong students visiting the mainland so that we can translate this learning experience into true patriotism. Now, apart from these cross-boundary exchange tours so that students or young people can learn about the mainland, we deepen their understanding and national identity, giving students personal experience of the development in different industries in the mainland provinces can foster patriotism for students after their classroom learning. The PA deserves credit. The HYAB, for example, will set up a new media internship program in the mainland. This is in line with the new development needs of young people. This can help our young people understand the latest development of media in the mainland. Through this process, young people in Hong Kong can also get experience of mainland workplaces, and they will find out more about the mainland. This can overcome geographical barriers. I hope that these exchange programs and itineraries can be further expanded. I hope there can be more places. That way our young people can benefit. And let's also cover more industries such as aerospace and AI, areas of interest to young people, so that young people from Hong Kong can see for themselves our country's achievements in industrial upgrading, so that they get a more holistic understanding of our country, and then they become the mainland in Hong Kong.
President, patriotic education is an important project. We have to make sure that everyone loves our country. This has to be taken forward in the long term. The PA promotes patriotic education on all fronts. There are clear directions on how we can do it. This includes making use of technology and promoting mainland exchanges program. And all these respond to the calls and needs of our young people. I hope that these plans could be transformed into actions so that our young people with a patriotic mind can grow in Hong Kong under one country, two systems. And together they can open up a brighter future and chapter for Hong Kong. Ms. Eunice Yong, I support the latest policy address. The New People's Party notices that there are over 100 measures in the PA. It has taken on board a lot of our suggestions. For example, the development of space economy, tax deduction arrangements to promote fertility, as well as the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. Enhancing government efficiency is one of my major concerns, so in this first session, I will mainly focus on the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. In recent years, we see rapid development of AI. Our country attaches importance to the adoption of AI. It stresses making use of new productive forces in industries to create great value Back in August 2023, I moved a motion in this council about enhancing government efficiency. Back then, I already said that government needs to make sure good coordination and communication among government departments and to receive people's complaints in an effective manner by making use of technologies and AI. This April, I submitted a proposal on AI development in Hong Kong. I did an analysis on AI development in Hong Kong, and I urged the government to create a blueprint on AI development so that we can promote digital government services and respond to people's needs more effectively. Over the past few years, the SAR government has been promoting the use of innovative technologies. I have been following up on issues concerning 1823. As well as the interfacing issues among different government apps. I had to reach out to different departments in order to settle the issue. I raised my opinions to the government a number of times. I thank the government for taking on board our suggestions. So far, we've seen great improvements in government services compared to a few years ago. The PA this year mentioned that there is a recognition technology to identify people's voice inquiries on 1823 and that 30% of the time has been reduced in terms of dealing with these inquiries. This deserves our recognition. So I have high hopes for the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. The government said that the Efficacy Enhancement team will use the company registry as well as the transport department as pilot points. And in November, there will be a detailed work plan as well as a timetable from the government. I hope the government will be able to tell us what government departments will make use of AI and what kind of procedures will they adopt and what kind of services will be involved, because this is of utmost concern of our people. I am a member of the PAC in this legislative term. Every time I look at the audit report, I see that there are many administrative issues concerning the clerical work of government departments. For example, in terms of approving different applications, the progress has been slow, and there have been delays in terms of submitting reports and records, and there were also missing information. This is commonplace within the government. I understand the government has been working hard to boost efficiency and to reduce errors and to make improvements. We see government's efforts. Using manual labor to deal with paperwork will inevitably lead to errors and issues, as well as lower efficiency. These works seem straightforward. However, they are closely linked to people's daily lives. If we can make use of AI to deal with this kind of work, we will be able to rationalize the operating procedures and greatly boost efficiency as well as respond to people's needs and enhance their living quality. I hope that AI will be able to help deal with the administrative issues within the government. As the government strives to re-engineer the work process, it should make use of AI technologies and enhance the coordination among government departments so that AI can become a critical force to boost government efficiency. In the PA, it is mentioned that AI will see development, and I have some suggestions on this. While the government strives to be innovative, it should ensure information security. Our country attaches high importance to AI security. We have to examine the risks behind using AI so the government can learn from the national standards as well as the national practices. There should be repeated testing of our IT systems to ensure that the risks are controllable as we use AI. In my proposal and blueprint, I stated that as we develop AI, we have to make sure that there are regulation and risk control. While the government builds a comprehensive, transparent AI regulatory system, it should cover cybersecurity, data security, as well as technological ethics to ensure the healthy development of AI. In addition, the government needs to promote the security of AI to ensure the safety of our IT systems. In order to do that, we need stringent assessment and tests in order to deal with the potential risks. We need contingency plans. So the AI Efficacy Enhancement team will not only focus on boosting government efficiency, it will also have to foresee any potential risks with AI development. It will have to come up with indicators and communicate with the relevant sectors to make sure that AI is used in healthcare, transport, businesses as well as public services, so that we can comprehensively enhance people's lives and to promote the wide adoption of AI in the community. Thank you. Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, President. Safety is the premise of development, and we need safety and security. The latest PA says that we will steadfastly implement one country, two systems, and that the government will pursue economic development and leverage Hong Kong's strengths. It will actively dovetail with the national strategies to promote economic stability so that we can rise steadily on international rankings. The PA has taken on board a lot of suggestions put forward by the BPA as well as the textile and apparel industry. I would like to thank the government for that. According to the PA, the government will set up the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. It shows that the government is pragmatic and is willing to take actions. It will make use of IT technology to boost our competitiveness and government efficiency. I've been calling for a top-level leadership and steering committee to enhance administrative efficiency so that we can combine IT technologies with our manpower. We need a consolidation of our work and procedures. I hope that with AI, we can see streamlined cross-departmental workflows and we can do away with unnecessary procedures. We can be flexible and promote more convenient government services to enhance people's user experience and to enhance administrative efficiency. We have to focus on supporting SMEs and move with the times. For example, we have to enhance the IM Smart app. We have to roll out the corporate version of the app so that people could make use of different government services by inputting their information once. Then we won't have to repeatedly input our personal information when, for example, applying for licenses. This will reduce the operating costs of SMEs, and this will ensure enhanced competitiveness of our business environment. This will make things easier for businesses and people. Thank you. Mr. Chan Kin-po. Thank you, President. Currently, we are faced with various challenges internally and externally. We need a structural reform to ensure that our economy moves towards high-quality development. The latest PA has taken on board the suggestions of different sectors, and it is riding on the trend of INT development. It seizes the opportunities and our strengths to boost governance efficiency. The theme of this year's PA is deepening reforms for our people, leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. In terms of finance, INT, and education, as well as livelihood issues, there are forward-looking policy measures. It responds to the challenges of the community. I believe that it will lay a solid foundation for the stable development of Hong Kong. AI has been developing rapidly. Using AI can help boost government efficiency. The PA proposes the setting up of an AI Efficacy Enhancement team. It is bringing in a new mindset and it will leverage market experiences. The government will guide government departments to re-engineer work process and make use of technologies. As we adopt AI, we have to train up civil servants' ability to make use of technology to make sure that technological development as well as institutional innovation can go hand in hand. We can use automated procedures for approval processes. This will streamline work procedures. In the long run, we have to upgrade the government systems to enhance service quality and reduce manpower. This will help the government save costs. We have a large number of civil servants, and there is unclear division of work. To address this problem, the PA proposes setting up an HOD accountability system and an enhanced civil service appraisal system. The HOD accountability system is about clearly dividing up work responsibility so that heads of department can make sure that there is effective management. HODs will be responsible for the performance of their departments, and the enhanced appraisal system will truly reflect the performance of civil servants. Like in the private sector, for good performers, they will be promoted, and for those who persistently underperform, there will be an exit mechanism for them. This can help boost civil servants' morale and ensure their quality. This will do away with the mindset of doing less means fewer mistakes. This will encourage civil servants to take up responsibilities, to be bold, and to work together to enhance government efficiency. On the other hand, our financial sector has always been the Hong Kong's lifeline. The PA proposes strengthening the stock market, for example, the China concept stocks. It proposes reinforcing Hong Kong's status as a super connector and a super value adder. The new proposals will encourage the setting up of gold storage in Hong Kong. It will also promote Hong Kong's physical commodity trading ecosystem. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange subsidiary, that is the London Metal Exchange, has already approved setting up 8 storages in Hong Kong. There will be more such storages to be set up in Hong Kong, and in the future, Hong Kong will become the commodity trading center in Asia Pacific to enhance our international influence. We have our unique advantages under one country, two systems. We adopt the common law system, and we have experts and talents here. This will allow us to go international, and we have become an indispensable part of our country. There will be the Go Global Task Force to be set up. It will help mainland enterprises to go global. This will create high service demands for the financial as well as the legal sector in Hong Kong. This will help boost Hong Kong's core competitiveness. In terms of the insurance sector, the PA proposes amending the legislations to lower the requirements for financing, and there will be incentives for those who take part in works projects. The relevant proposals will allow insurance companies to, in a more cost-effective manner, deal with internal risks. And all these help the insurance sector diversify risks and enhance the market's capability. This will turn Hong Kong into a wealth management center.
We will also have policies that will promote low-altitude economy insurance, elderly insurance, as well as maritime insurance. We will set up a dedicated risk pool for maritime industry that should enhance our insurance capabilities. We have great new engines for growth that have tremendous potential for the economy in future. We have the policy address proposing to expedite the development of the Northern Metropolis, and with top-level leadership and steering, with the setting up of a committee on development of Northern Metropolis and the 3 working groups under the committee. We will enhance efficiency in development. We will also have the restrictions removed with setting up of dedicated legislation for the development of Northern Metropolis. All of these will facilitate the development of the Northern Metropolis. We face fierce competition from different parts of the world. With the development of the Northern Metropolis, it can enhance our competitiveness and help us upgrade and transform. We need to have the government construct the Northern Metropolis as a new step for us to move towards a high value added and high competitiveness region and create synergy within the Greater Bay Area. Now, I want to cover some livelihood issues. The housing issue is a persistent challenge to society. We have some targeted measures in the policy address this year to construct a comprehensive housing letter and attempting to meet the short-term and long-term needs of the public. Increasing PRH supply is tackling the root cause of the issue to shorten the waiting time for public housing. The government said specifically they will double the supply of public rental housing and to help public rental housing tenants purchase home ownership scheme flats so that they can have their own homes. We need to consider different households' needs when attempting to construct a comprehensive household letter. The government heeded the advice of Professor Chow Man Kong last year to extend the principal repayment period from 20 years to 30 years, and there were also other measures that has caused a significant increase in the transaction of the secondary market for HOS flats. And we have also seen the quota increase this year. This has allowed more young families to purchase homes. With a low fertility rate in Hong Kong, I'm glad that there are specific measures in the policy address on providing new tax concessions or additional tax concessions for families with newborns. Newborns would bring about significant expenditure on young families. So if we provide additional tax concessions for the first 2 years of the newborns, it would greatly help the young families. We have also 15 additional childcare centers in the next 3 years, providing 1,500 daycare places for 0 to 3-year-olds. It can allow parents to go back to work worry-free, and it will release labor potential in this regard. We have also seen the number of places for assisted reproductive services increase to 1,500, so that more couples with the wish to bear children can take advantage of such services. There are also some measures on SME support in the policy address. It is very important to maintain cash flows of SMEs amid uncertainties. We have also seen the government extend the principal moratorium arrangement and application period for the financing guarantee scheme so as to maintain cash flows of SMEs. This will prevent closure of companies and to maintain stability in society. We have also seen the reduction of various fees and charges for enterprises, such as license fees, zero charges, so that the operation costs of enterprises can be reduced and they can focus their funds on meeting challenges in operations. With additional funding to the BUD fund, it can help enterprises upgrade and transform, break into new markets, seize new opportunities. We have also a one-stop platform providing information to SMEs and matching services for overseas markets. This will help enterprises go global. We have also an additional $30 billion earmarked in policy address for works projects. This will maintain the stability of the construction industry. It also safeguards development potential in the long term for Hong Kong. It also provides a stable environment for SMEs to operate in. The policy address covers various measures on economic development and improving people's livelihood. It shows the government's determination to meet the challenges and help the economy transform in the long term, promoting sustainable development and improving people's livelihood. We need to actually implement the different measures to expedite the pace of economic recovery so that society can indeed move forward in a stable manner. Thank you. Dr. Anman Yu. Thank you, President. We have seen this year's policy address focusing on the economy and people's livelihood. This dovetails with the vision of the DAB. We fully support the policy address. We support the transformation of Hong Kong economy and the government supporting the people and enhancing governance. We have in this year's policy address the establishment of the heads of department accountability system. This is a forward-thinking and pragmatic approach. The Chief Executive described himself as the general, and he is leading the civil service in winning the battle. And I think it will help with the clear delineation of responsibilities and enhance efficiency. On institutional design, when there are systemic and serious issues with departments, we will have investigations conducted that will further strengthen governance. It also responds to the people's wishes for enhancing the transparency of government operations and efficiency. But accountability is not the focus. It is also about recognizing the efforts of the government when it comes to time. We have seen the government doing very well in responding to the Super Typhoon Ragasa, meeting the various challenges, making coordination so that society can resume normal as soon as possible. It really shows the leadership of heads of departments. It also shows accountability and the efforts of frontline officers. We need to praise excellence from the civil service so that we can foster a positive culture to ensure continuous progress in the improvement of civil service. With the establishment of the AI Efficacy Enhancement team, I believe companies registered the Transport Department and Buildings Department have already selected by the team as the pilot departments for enhancing efficiency. I believe with AI we can greatly reduce manpower and resources used in operations. But we should not limit the application of AI in efficiency, enhancing efficiency of the government. Can we maybe use it for the operations of a labor department and job matching so that we have targeted solutions to resolve the structural mismatch of demand and supply? We also see Kwun Tong being a pilot point of smart city operations, and we have seen autonomous vehicles being tested in Kwun Tong. I suggest that the government continue to make better use of the smart traffic system in Kwun Tong so that we can have different assistive technological devices in improving transportation and road networks. Thank you. Ms. Kamen Khan, I speak in support of the motion of thanks. This is a concluding year of the National 14th Five-Year Plan. It is also a year where we lay the groundwork for the 15th Five-Year Plan. The government's governance must dovetail with national strategies and leverage on its own advantages. We have the theme of the policy address being deepening reforms, and there are also many measures on improving people's livelihood. This is our vision and our goal. And we have in Chapter 2, Steadfastly and Successfully Implementing promoting the principle of one country, two systems. It really shows how the SAR government is a leader and the one that should be held accountable for the operations of Hong Kong. I appreciate this, and this is what I suggested to the government, and I'm glad that the government is taking this approach. I am very honored to be the chairman of the panel on security this year. It is really important to safeguard national security. We have successfully implemented legislation for Article 23 and the national security legislation, but we need to actively implement the legislation in order to successfully implement the principles. I also appreciate how the critical infrastructures ordinance will come into operation next year on the 1st of January. And I suggest the Commissioner on Critical Infrastructure should work with the HKMA and the relevant authorities to make sure we are implementing critical infrastructure protection.
方面呢
On legislation, cyber attacks and data leaks have happened time and again. So we have to move faster with amending the PDPO. I get it, there may be an impact on businesses. So I suggest a phased approach. We start with the mandatory reporting system, and then we regulate the data processors directly. That's how it can go hand in hand with the ordinance on protecting the computer systems of critical infrastructures. In September, a sensitive document was issued, which was the working guidelines for government staff on handling information. I get it, it's sensitive, we cannot make it public, but there should be clear standards on how things work. And we should continuously review the standards and definitions such as those adopted in the oath for civil servants. Now, on accountability, departmental heads have always been held accountable for their performance, but this arrangement has yet to be institutionalized. That's why the policy address proposes a head of department accountability system. This will be an independent system. The Public Service Commission can investigate civil servants at all ranks, including departmental heads. This can help us align the principal officials' accountability system with the administrative accountability of civil servants. But there's a question over the independence of the PSC, which features retired civil servants. So we have to review who will serve as the chairperson, and we will also have to consider the expanded terms of reference of the PSC as we amend the subsidiary legislation. The incremental jump of civil servants should also be reviewed sooner rather than later. As I said on different occasions, and as the Secretary for the Civil Service told us, in 2024, there were only 24 people who were denied the incremental jump. Even the Secretary for the Civil Service acknowledged this was undesirable. The Civil Service Bureau has done much on this front. So this is where deeper reform is in order. On the use of artificial intelligence, I welcome the government's adoption of this suggestion to set up the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. The Secretary for Justice will also set up a cross-departmental working group on legislation for the use of AI. The focus should be more than just about greater government efficacy. We should be spurring industries to adopt AI. Let's learn from other jurisdictions. Let's bring in regulatory regimes so that we regulate the AI algorithms. The Loop and the Northern Metropolis should be part of the picture as we look at AI regulation so that we can bring in mainland data in a secure way. The data will then be able to be used in scientific research in the loop. We're heading into the 7th year of the outline development plan for the Greater Bay Area. Guangdong Province just released a new plan. Hong Kong must align itself with the GBA plan of our country so that we can achieve synergistic development with the 9 cities of the GBA. On this front, the CMAB has a number of measures. I just want to say these measures are very important. I will speak further on in other sessions. Mr. Stanley. President, the latest policy address is about deepening reforms for our people and leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. This shows the government's determination in implementing one country, two systems. It upholds national security and it is determined to promote Hong Kong's long-term development. This is a policy address for the people, for development and planning for the future. The FTU gives credit to the Chief Executive for the PA and supports the PA. Now I will speak on the matters for Session 1. One country, two systems is the foundation of Hong Kong's enduring stability and prosperity. The PA focuses on this point. We integrate into our national development. We also leverage our unique strength. We must hold on to the one country principle and respect the two systems. Only then, with national support, we can move ahead. Safeguarding national security is the shared responsibility of Hong Kong society as a whole. We must keep enhancing the enforcement mechanisms so that we strengthen this protective barrier for national security, and this will ensure our long-term prosperity and stability. Patriotic education is also an important way of forging community consensus. This education needs to be part of schools and also workplaces. We must strengthen the national identity of the younger generation so that patriotism becomes a mainstream value in the community. The FTU welcomes the government's attention to the history of trade unions. We're trying to identify more resources on the patriotic trade unions in history. On governance, the PA proposes a range of innovative measures. For example, the head of department accountability system will lead to greater government efficacy. There will be clearer roles and responsibilities. There will be faster response and also a more vigorous civil service appraisal system. This will spur civil servants to deliver better services so that the civil service will focus on the people and deliver quality and efficiency. The AI Efficacy Enhancement team, which will be established, shows that the government is determined to streamline processes and improve efficiency so that the public can enjoy more user-friendly services. On regional collaboration, deepening GBA cooperation is the key direction of Hong Kong's future. The PA also proposes faster development of the northern metropolis, including the development in the Loop and the Santine Technopole. There will be more connections in terms of transport and mutual recognition of professional qualifications. This will foster our integration into national development. This will also bring more jobs and opportunities for our people. Meanwhile, we must keep strengthening our rule of law so that policies and measures can be delivered effectively and we create a fair development environment or a level playing field. We're at a new starting point in history. The PA is about development, governance, and the people. The PA gives us hope. The FTU will continue to serve as a bridge We will support the government in delivering different policies and measures, especially the measures on improving the labor market. We will help the working class seize the opportunities of industrial upgrading and regional development. We should work together under one country, two systems. We should safeguard national security together. We should deepen patriotic education, improve governance, accelerate GB integration, and build a more prosperous and secure Hong Kong. I so submit. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. President, I start by thanking Dr. Starry LEE as the chairperson of the House Committee for moving the motion of thanks for the 2025 policy address. The PA this year is about deepening reforms for our people and leveraging our strengths for a brighter future. The focus is on the economy and people's lives. The BPA has been calling for economic development and a better life for people, so the PA is in line with what the BPA is calling for. 90% of what we have been calling for has been adopted. Those measures cover different areas, such as faster development of the northern metropolis, enhancing the CIES, developing a yacht economy, and exploring island hopping itineraries, an action agenda for the low-altitude economy, and also fostering the aviation industry and the aircraft recycling sector. Changes unseen in a century are moving fast. Against this backdrop, the BPA believes this PA focuses on the future and also the present challenges. We rise to the current challenges and also plan for the future. We focus on Hong Kong's unique position. We lay the foundation for Hong Kong's move from stability to prosperity. The BPA gives full credit to this PA and supports this. I'm from the engineering sector. I welcome the government's pragmatism and its focus on infrastructure and boosting the economy. I've been calling on the government to help the engineering sector to cope with the reduction in project. In the next 5 years, the average annual expenditure will be $120 billion. On top of this, the PA proposes an extra $30 billion for more public works over the next 2 to 3 years. This will ensure the timely and orderly rollout of projects to support the economy. This will also mean more opportunities for the engineering sector so that there will be no wild swings in project volume. This will support the industry, and we can avoid this past mistake of oscillating between feasts and famines. The industry and I welcome this move. The northern metropolis will be a key growth engine for Hong Kong's future. I welcome the government's adoption of my idea of bringing in market forces and cutting red tape. The Development Bureau has adopted pragmatic measures such as paying for what you build. The Chief Executive will be personally leading the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis, offering top-level streamlining administration. New ideas are adopted in the development of different areas, and this also applies to the use of materials and equipment. The BPA believes we can focus more on talent and their needs. We can plan accordingly, and we come up with strategies to draw investment and enterprises. The personal leadership of the Chief Executive of the Committee on the NM shows the government's resolve in moving full steam ahead with the NM. And we have been calling for dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis. We need a streamlined statutory procedure for the Northern Metropolis. This is a shot in the arm for the Northern Metropolis. Streamlining things can also take pressure off both the sector and the government in procedures. The government must move faster with cross-boundary rail links. We need to link up the metro networks of Hong Kong and the mainland. Let's continue to enhance our transport links with the mainland in rail, air, and sea transport, so that we become part of our national network of railways and highways. We should also leverage the third runways by bringing in more cargo. The government pledged further development of the Dongguan Airport Logistics Park, and also pledge more e-commerce and cross-boundary logistics facilities. There will be more cargo, more goods, so that we have an entire system featuring sea, rail, and air transport. And that will bring more mainland users of Hong Kong's airport and logistics facilities, and this can foster Hong Kong's role as a vital spot in the supply chain. I need to make a declaration. I'm a board member of the Airport Authority. On Hong Kong as an I&T center, I have been calling on the SAR government to move faster with their loop. And we should foster the deep collaboration between Hong Kong and the mainland. The government will announce the conceptual plan for the Sandine Technopole this year that will cover the layout and industries in the area and also other parts of the Northern Metropolis. This can channel market investment in the Northern Metropolis. I welcome that. I also called on the government to make good use of data governance. I called for a smart government, a digital government. This PA pledges greater use of AI as a core industry for Hong Kong. $1 billion will be set aside for an Hong Kong AI R&D Institute next year. This year, we will start tendering for the Sandy Ridge Data Center. We will also promote AI-based government services. There will be AI education as we promote the use of AI across industries. These measures are in line with our country's AI Plus strategy. The use of AI can also help traditional industries as they upgrade themselves so that we move towards smart manufacturing. On setting out the AI Efficacy Enhancement team and the promotion of AI technology across departments, this also deserves support.
The current term government has been promoting the development of culture, sports, and tourism. It has yielded results. It deserves our recognition. In July and August this year, the DPPA released the result findings of the yacht economy, and we also held meetings with the round table. We are glad that the government has taken on board our recommendations and is rolling out a series of measures. For example, an additional 600 yacht berths will be provided. It will relax restrictions for visiting yachts. It will also allow the one-stop submission of relevant immigration information by visiting yachts for pre-approval. It will work with the Guangdong provincial government on rolling out the southbound travel scheme for Guangdong yachts. This will help enrich tourism elements in Hong Kong. Housing is a livelihood issue for Hong Kong. I was concerned that we would have more supply for the first 10 years in the current term government in terms of housing. I'm glad that the government is taking multi-pronged measures to catch up with the supply. In the coming 5 years, the total public housing supply will reach 189,000 units. Compared to the first year of the current term government, we see an increase of 80%. The waiting time for public housing will be reduced from 6.1 years to 5.1 years, and the government is working towards the target of 4.5 years in terms of the waiting time. I understand that the government is working to circulate public housing units. For example, it is going to increase the white form to green form ratio. It is also increasing the quota for white form applicants. It is taking care of the young applicants as well as one person applicants. It will allow eligible owners to rent out their apartments to wide form applicants. This is showing that the government is enriching the housing ladder and helping people to move up the housing ladder. The government is also speeding up the redevelopment of public housing estates for Ma Tau Y Estate as well as Sai Wan Estate. It is going to study the redevelopment of model estate. It will improve the living environment of public rental housing occupants. I am glad that the government is taking the lead to use MIC construction technology as well as MIMEP. I hope the government will speed up the development of construction industrial parks in Hong Kong to improve people's lives. In terms of the shortage of parking spaces in urban commercial areas as well as traffic congestion issues, I am glad that the government is relaxing the GFA exemption arrangements for car parks in private developments. It is providing incentives to increase parking spaces. Now turning to solid waste charging as well as waste reduction, I'm concerned about these. There have been heated debate in the community about waste charging. We have seen great improvements. We see a reduction in terms of waste disposal as well as an increase of recycling rate. The government is suspending the waste charging scheme. On this, I think the government is being pragmatic, so it deserves our support. This is because waste charging is premised on good recycling facilities. We are seeing a lack of recycling facilities, especially food waste recycling facilities in housing estates. I hope that we will all work together to reduce waste and recycle waste so that we can see zero waste disposal at landfills. The current term government attaches importance to the development of education, technology, and talent. The Lausanne Institute in Switzerland released the recent ranking, and we are ranked the top in Asia in the 2025 ranking. It is encouraging that we have achieved such accomplishment. However, we have to think about how to retain talent and nurture local talent. In April this year, I gave a speech in this council. I stressed that while we crawl for talent, we have to retain talent. I suggest that the government set up a high-level committee to coordinate and systematically track talent data. We should have a talent database to cultivate talent and keep talent that we need. We are at the critical juncture of restructuring ourselves. We have to make sure that top-level planning can be implemented effectively. This year's PA stresses strengthening governance, and there is going to be the HOD accountability system and an enhanced civil service appraisal system. HODs will have to be held accountable. Same for senior civil servants. So the two kinds of accountability systems will be articulated better. There will be the investigation mechanism, and the Public Service Commission will be responsible for conducting investigations. This responds to our country's aspiration, and this provides an important support for us to implement different reforms. This will also boost the confidence of different sectors in Hong Kong. All in all, I think the latest PA has put forward a number of policy measures, and together they show that the current term government is bold enough to ease restrictions and cut red tape. It is determined to roll out reforms to boost the overall efficiency and competitiveness of Hong Kong. The BPA hopes that the government will work with the business sector to leverage our unique strengths under one country, two systems. And on an ongoing basis, we will roll out reforms and expand our growth points, improve our business environment, and promote diversified, high-quality transformation so that we can create a more stable and prosperous Hong Kong. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Ronald Chan. Mr. President, I speak in support of the motion. The latest policy address focuses on economy and people's livelihood. The target is clear. Members of the public are able to grasp the highlight and main points. I am glad that the administration took on board our suggestions on areas such as housing, talent, as well as promoting childbirth. I'm a committee that looks at the remuneration of civil servants. I'm glad that the government is enhancing the accountability system, and it will roll out incentives. There will be a 3-tier system to deal with issues in the past that concern unclear roles and duties. HODs will be held accountable for the performance of departments. They will have to take up the responsibility if there are any problems that occur within departments. I truly hope that the new system will enhance government efficiency. The government should encourage officials to take up responsibility. It should, however, not overemphasize the accountability. It should not be too conservative. Business organizations are adopting a 3-tier management model. The back end as well as the front line, they all have their roles. For the HOD accountability system, it relies on independent investigations to be carried out by the Public Service Commission. The CSB can serve as the 2nd-tier system to ensure a comprehensive management system. Also, the PSC is crucial to the entire system in terms of its credibility. We have already had independent personnel sitting on the commission. In the future, we might have to invite more independent members to join the commission so that we can ensure the credibility of their investigations. There is a 6 rating system for assessing the performance of civil servants. The system is now skewed towards the central of the 6 rating system. I strongly suggest that the government learn from the private sector. There should be a cap in terms of the number of civil servants that get each of the grades. For those who perform well, there should be rewards for them. We should also strengthen the link between the performance of civil servants and their remuneration. In the past 5 years, there were very few civil servants who failed to get the pay rise increments because of their poor performance. For those who perform well, we could perhaps allow them to have greater incremental jumps. Now, the government is proposing setting up the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. Some departments may prefer the lower hanging fruits and meet the lower targets instead. I suggest that the government could have the company registry, the transport department, as well as the housing department as the pilot points. This will provide convenience for members of the public and show that the government has a determination to get things right. In the future, we need a central coordinating department to showcase the application scenarios of AI so that the public could feel that AI is actually helping improve their lives. That's all from me for this session. Thank you. Dr. So Chuan Wing. President, in the past 3 policy addresses, the Chief Executive put forward a comprehensive plan to address the problems we face. We have seen significant results. This year's PA emphasizes deepening reforms and leveraging our strengths. This is an extension of the previous 3 PAs. There will be the HOD accountability system. The government will also speed up the development of the northern metropolis. It will adopt AI more widely. All these are highlights of this year's PA. It shows that the government is determined to roll out reforms and transform these targets into actions. These initiatives will support the development of our economy and improve people's lives. The CE in this year's policy address proposes the HOD accountability system and an enhanced civil service appraisal system. The government will also set up the AI efficacy enhancement team. These are crucial reforms to boost government efficiency. These policy initiatives stress the importance of having clear responsibilities and accountability, as well as adopting technology. This can help address the previous issues we saw in the civil service about civil servants lacking and displaying low efficiency. This will put in safeguards for the government services. This will help achieve the chief executive's target in boosting Hong Kong's long-term competitiveness.
As a highly internationalized city, the governance of the SAR government will directly affect economic competitiveness and people's livelihood. For various reasons in the past, there is a lack of clear delineation of responsibilities in the civil service. There has been shirking of responsibilities. There is, in particular, unclear division of responsibilities between heads of department and frontline officers that often cause collective responsibility to overshadow individual responsibility. The performance appraisal mechanism is all about the procedures. It does not gauge actual performance. It is hard to retain elite talents and eliminate the underperforming staff. With new growth areas such as smart city and digital economy, we should have technology drive reforms within the civil service, and the government's or the chief executive's measures tackle the root cause of the problem and focus on the key areas of the deepening reforms in Hong Kong. In response to public expectations, it is also necessary for the further development of the economy. I think the following salient points are especially appreciated. The heads of department accountability system and the enhanced performance appraisal system will strengthen accountability. It will help senior government officials be more proactive. Heads of department will be directly responsible for the management of departmental operations. This will eliminate the problem of collective responsibility overshadowing individual responsibility before and promote active management. Departmental issues will be dealt with in accordance with severity of the issues. This is appreciated. We will also have an external body conduct investigations if necessary. This will ensure fairness and instill confidence in the public. Expanding the functions of the Public Service Commission giving it powers to investigate will allow external individuals participation in investigation, again enhancing the professionality and independence of the investigations. We will have the performance appraisal of civil servants become performance-oriented. This will enhance accuracy of the performance appraisals and will boost morale of civil servants. We should have the Civil Service Bureau improve the performance appraisal system to clearly distinguish who the civil servants who are performing well are. This should not only cover senior government officials. We should have it apply to frontline officers as well, and this will become the basis for posting, promotion, and disciplinary action. We need to practice active management on all levels of the civil service. The AI efficacy enhancement team will help make the government make use of technologies to deepen reforms and enhance efficiency. With the use of AI technologies, we can re-engineer our workflows. For example, we can have the Census and Statistics Department making use of AI for their analyses, or the 1823 making use of AI technologies in responding to public complaints. This will help the digital transformation of government services. There are clear directions for reforms in the policy address, but I hope the government will be prepared for the different challenges in active implementation. There are risks associated with unclear delineation of responsibilities and boundaries. We need to have clear standards for, in particular, delineating the severity of the issues. Otherwise, it may cause a delay in conducting investigations and unclear division of responsibilities. We need to make sure the investigations are conducted independently, including giving the members of the commission proper powers to obtain information. If they can't obtain the information, they cannot have findings that can reassure the public. We also need to be fair in the performance appraisal standards. If the appraisal standards are too subjective or quantitative, such as focusing on efficiency in the short-term work, it will neglect the long-term contributions and coordination needed in departmental operations. We need to understand how civil servants may not adapt well to applications of AI, and there are different digitalization capabilities in different departments. If we do not provide adequate support, it may widen the digital divide. So I suggest that the government need to elaborate on the standards for accountability and investigation. We need to have a list of responsibilities for heads of department, so that in policy making, resource allocation, emergency response, and other areas, we have clear responsibilities for senior government officials. We should have the DOJ or ICAC formulate guidelines for determining the severity of issues, say systematic corruption or significant financial losses, or incidents involving public safety. We need to enhance transparency of the relevant standards as well. We also need to reassure the public of the independence of investigations and the members of the investigation panels. We need to grant relevant members with the powers to obtain necessary information for investigation purpose. The members should also propose recommendations for rectification along with the investigation findings. And after scrutiny of the commission, the outcomes should be announced to the public so that we have a good cycle of investigation, accountability, rectification, and again, holding people accountable for implementation of the investigation findings. We also need to make the performance appraisal system more objective, scientific, and humanistic. We need to incorporate quantitative targets, but on top of that, we need to consider some qualitative standards. We also need to recognize efforts of civil servants where it is due. We need to also have an appeal mechanism for civil servants to lodge appeals if necessary, and these appeals should be looked at by an independent third party. Lastly, on the promotion of application of AI, we need to understand that some may have difficulty in adapting to use of AI. We should have courses tailor-made for this purpose for civil servants on, say, AI ethics standards and the basics of AI. We also need to prioritize those working in livelihood areas to see how we can make use of AI to re-engineer workflows and then accumulate experience for other areas so that we will not be able to meet public service needs. President, enhancing government governance is an important step in the modernization of the civil service. With the reforms, we should be able to eliminate the inertia in governance of the government and boost the efficacy of a civil service. But what is important is implementation. We need to elaborate on the standards and guidelines to ensure there is proper use of technology and public participation in the reforms so that the measures can be implemented effectively. I so submit, speaking in support of the motion of thanks. Mrs. Regina Ip. Thank you, President. I first of all would like to thank the Chief Executive for delivering a very comprehensive policy address. I also thank the Chief Executive for listening to and incorporating many views proposed by society, including the views proposed by the New People's Party. For this session, I am speaking on the specific themes of deepening reforms and implementing one country, two systems. In the 80s, in the last century, actually, I participated in the construction of the one country, two systems principle. And you can see this booklet here on one country, two systems that actually has my name on it. The Secretariat for Drafting Basic Law has consulted me, which is why they gave me this booklet in commemoration. In the 90s, when I was working in the business sector, I have submitted my feedback to the mainland officials on various areas as well in the amending of the basic law. And in the last 30 years, I can see different stages in the implementation of a one country, two systems principle. And we have seen time and again the central government officials saying the principle of two systems will not change. But then with this relatively accommodating approach, people have abused this. We need to therefore tell people that we need to steadfastly and successfully implement one country, two systems. We have seen the failure to put in place laws for Article 23 in 2003, and then we had some protests against the national security law in 2012. We have since then the central authorities promulgating the first white paper on implementation of one country, two systems principle in the SAR, and it says that patriotism is the basic requirement. This document was promulgated in 2014. This was already a reminder. But people did not listen to this kind reminder by the central authorities. And in 2019, we have seen widespread destruction in Hong Kong, protests with the excuse of the anti-extradition bill, trying to subvert the government. We have seen other challenges. With these challenges, the new National People's Congress passing the national security law in 2021, and we have improved our electoral system after that so that we can transition from chaos to order and then advance from stability to prosperity. There are different conflicts associated with one country, two systems. 10 odd years ago, an LOCPG official said that there are 3 conflicts associated with this. And I anticipate similar challenges in integrating into the development of the country for the city. We need to ensure that we have the 3 main principles implemented, such as Patriot or Hong Kong people administering Hong Kong, a high degree of autonomy, and the one country, two systems principle. For the working force on aging population strategies, we have been already promoting our people to retire in the mainland, and we have many healthcare vouchers that can be consumed in the mainland. We have very affordable services in the mainland. It will also alleviate the burden on the SAR government. People have been talking about impact to the service sector, but what impact is there exactly? We need to boost the economy by developing new industries, to expand our economic base in order to guarantee the long-term development potential of Hong Kong and make contributions to the country. The Northern Metropolis development is very important. If I have the time, I will talk about in the next session how important innovation is for the space economy.
So, on one country, two systems, we can see our country is a source of support for us. Back in 2003, we had an economic slump. In 2008, there was a financial crisis, a global crisis. Our country kept supporting Hong Kong. We had the individual visit scheme. Many mainland businesses came for listing in Hong Kong, and that strengthened our financial services and stock market. We became among the top 3 financial centers around the world. Back in February this year, someone said Hong Kong was over, but then now Hong Kong is looking to become the prime location for raising funds across the globe. There's so much liquidity from the mainland. We will still need the central government support. But on top of that, our officials and electoral members should be putting their heads together on how we can make a greater contribution to our country. Let's leverage our strengths, such as our common law system, to help our country get a greater say. The Go Global Task Force for mainland businesses is a good example. Let's leverage our strength to support mainland businesses when they go global. President Xi Jinping has said time and again, one country, two systems is a good system, and this system is here to stay. We should cherish this gift from the central government. It's an unprecedented, monumental concept. The central government gave us stability, prosperity, and security, so we should be thinking about how to make a greater contribution to our country. On civil service governance, many members have commented on this. We just had a typhoon. From the recovery efforts, we can see the civil service can be very efficient. It doesn't always happen, but this time it was very efficient. Local stakeholders said that was down to the coordination of the Chief Secretary for Administration. We prepared well in advance. Departments were instructed to prepare in advance, and afterwards, reports had to be submitted within 1 day. So I heard that the Drainage Services Department and the Highways Department got the work done quickly and they used technology. And that inspired public confidence in the government. So let's keep up this efficiency on different occasions. I used to be an administrative officer, so I want to discuss AOs. Mrs. Ingrid Yuan just told us a record number of people applied for the AO post this year, but we should not rest on our laurels. AOs are so popular because the pay is good. You start at $60,000. Even multinational corporations or our financial institutions rarely offer that sort of pay for entry-level posts. For management trainees, at many companies, they start at $30-something thousand, but AOs start at $60,000. That's why this job is so popular among university graduates. But let's not forget about the wastage rate. It's more than just the numbers. We're losing people who are trained and very experienced. I want to cite some examples, and they are reported in the news. Why did the head of our EDO in Washington resign? Why did the assistant of the financial secretary leave their job for the Hong Kong Investment Corporation? Why? Someone suggested a reason. After working for 10 years, those administrative officers no longer get the housing allowance, so they move on. They move on to greener pastures. So the Secretary for the Civil Service shouldn't just be talking about the many applicants. She should also talk about why we're losing experienced AOs. We're now seeing permanent secretaries switching to a new position after just a few months in the job. That's because of a shortage of such experienced senior civil servants. Now, we have another structural issue with the civil service, and that is a bloated structure. Singapore has just 5.8 million people. They have just 80,000 civil servants. We have 7.5 million people, but we have 190,000 civil servants. That's the establishment. Of course, the strength is only 170,000 people. The financial secretary asked us to cut that by $10,000, so no reduction in real terms. How come we have such a huge establishment in the civil service here? So we heard that many people work in non-government organizations in Singapore, but we also have the Trade and Development Council and the Hospital Authority. They hire a lot of people, and then we also have many contractors. They offer cleaning services, for example. Why do we need such a huge civil service establishment? I'm not asking for casual layoffs. The economy is hardly booming. Laying off people in the civil service will hurt the economy. But the government needs to be honest. let's explain to the public why do we need so many civil servants, given that we already have so many contractors and non-government organizations. Why are so many experienced administrative officers leaving their jobs? And we also have high expectations for this AI efficacy enhancement team. AI is not meant to replace people, but AI can take over simple repetitive tasks. AI is supposed to help us do our jobs better. Look at the typhoon. The powerful mobile pumping robot helped us clear up the stagnant water. In the long term, we have to think about the jobs we no longer need with AI. So in the interest of time, I will stop here. I will speak in other sessions. Mr. Brave Chen. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I also thank the officials for attending this session. I want to focus on deepening reforms and being committed to people's livelihood, one country, two systems, and the Greater Bay Area. We support this comprehensive and meaty policy address. The PA adopted many suggestions from our party, the DAB. President Xi Jinping said the one country, two systems is a source of vitality. It's a good system. It can contribute to our country's development as a strong nation and the great rejuvenation of the nation. It's 28 years after our return to our country. We want development, security, a growing international influence, and all that shows the vitality of one country, two systems. Now, on the principle of Patriots administering Hong Kong, we now have peace, especially so once you think back to 2019 and as we think about the regions, the war-torn regions elsewhere in the world. But we have to be alert because we have examples of soft resistance. The latest U.S. Consul General in Hong Kong has done something. We can all see what she has done. That's a reminder. There's no smooth sailing. Peace cannot be taken for granted. It's just like a virus. We have to be vigilant all the time. On the outcome of the improved electoral system, we have seen a few elections since the improvement. We have seen high quality, fair, and clean elections. For that, we thank the committees and the policy bureaus involved. At the end of this year, we will see the general election for LegCo. We have heard about all kinds of enhancements for the upcoming election, but I just want to say there are ways we can do even better so that we can keep enhancing the system. So let's make good use of big data, artificial intelligence, and electronic systems such as electronic vote ballot counting system. And that already worked at the EC subsector election last time. But voters have called for polling stations closer to where people live, and we should give priority to schools and government premises so that people don't have to go a long distance to reach their polling station. Because in some cases, people have to take the stairs to reach the polling stations, and that's putting seniors off. And let's also double down on publicity, like the publicity on the National Day and the War of Resistance. Again, the Chief Executive adopted many suggestions from the DAB, the New Territories Association of Societies. By working on the heritage and the resources related to the anti-Japanese guerrilla fighters. The highlight of this year is the commemoration of the War of Resistance against Japanese invaders. We want a community of shared future for humanity. We have this shared value in fighting against Japanese militarism and Nazism in general. So, on that basis, can we have more study tours? Can we expand that to kindergartens and the community at large? Let's expand our capacity in red tourism so that all sides can benefit. Let's also make good use of these red education bases. We should keep doing this. We should keep investing in this space. Now, on this museum showcasing our country's achievements, let's speed up the work. Let's think about setting up such a museum in the northern metropolis. Let's hold more exhibitions of our country's achievements so that we become more confident, we take greater pride in our country's achievements, and that can also foster social cohesion. On fostering GBA development, let's speed up the implementation of the various measures. We need results, just like what the chief executive said, we're result-oriented, and also the cross-boundary credit referencing system. Let's put in place this initiative so that we can enhance GBA integration, and this can also be a good news for our SMEs. Now, for the new Huanggang port and the Shuttlecock port, we now have collaborative inspection and joint clearance. That worked. And then for the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge, Dr. Starry LEE tried it out herself. We now have contactless clearance. So the next step is better implementation. We would like a trial of this technology at every boundary crossing facility, so that visitors can come visit us from all parts of the world. Now, we need faster development in the loop, faster development with BCPs. We want longer operating hours at the BCPs during holidays, and also the multi-entry visas. So, faster, better, more economical results. Speed comes first now. When we achieve more economical results, it's not just about saving money, it's also about saving time. People would like to see greater results. So does the chief executive. I will stop here. Thank you.
Ms. Nixie Lam. Thank you, Deputy President. This youth policy address focuses on our strengths under one country, two systems. There are multiple concrete measures on, for example, education and other areas. This shows that the government is leading us from stability to prosperity. The government proposes this heads of department accountability system. This responds to the aspiration of our citizens. This is a flexible mechanism. This mechanism allows good performing civil servants to go further in their career. This will also help eliminate underperformers so that we can truly stick to the meritocracy principle. This will help boost citizens' confidence in the government. Now, the Deputy Chief Secretary will lead the AI Efficacy Enhancement team. I believe the team will take up a lot of work because this is no easy task. The team marks the determination of the government to build a smart government. I think the Efficacy Enhancement team can learn from other places. For example, there are some successful examples in Shenzhen. The panel on public service, together with the Secretary for the Civil Service, visited Shenzhen. We observed how the Shenzhen government made use of AI in its work. Did they come up with their own AI technologies? How did they deal with personal privacy issues? These practices can help Hong Kong implement the AI policies in a more targeted manner. As mentioned by some other members, there are differences in terms of how different government departments deal with different administrative tasks. So the Deputy Chief Secretary will be faced with this challenge. Some departments will lean towards certain administrative procedures. Other departments may not be able to have access to certain data, and this would hinder us from giving full play to AI technologies. to remove these barriers, I believe the government may have to learn about the situations of individual departments before it decides how to maximize the benefit of AI. The government should study formulating rules to share data among different government departments. It should deal with potential security issues with the use of AI. Now, the HOD accountability system will become ever more important. In future, members of the public will have high expectations on government officials. I believe many citizens will complain about HODs. Now, with clear delineation of responsibilities, I believe this would help boost people's confidence in the government. The government will have greater room to deal with potential problems. There will be higher transparency. I see that we are seeing a record high in terms of the number of people applying for civil service posts. I am happy to see that more young people are willing to join the government. I hope that young civil servants will make use of their knowledge. For example, as mentioned, young people may be more confident with using AI, so I hope they will contribute to the Hong Kong SAR. Now, with such a huge civil service team, we need a good performance appraisal mechanism. With big data, I believe we'll be able to come up with more concrete KPIs to help citizens monitor the performance of different government departments. Now, the government raised the example of 1823 in adopting AI. In mainland, they have the 1235 hotline. It makes use of big data. I hope that 1823 can follow suit and make improvements. It can do away with formalities with AI and leverage our strengths under one country, two systems. The government is determined to enhance its governance. In order to leverage our strengths under one country, two systems, we have to ensure national security. We also have to ensure improved governance to enhance people's belonging to our country. We need greater connection between the top and down level within the government. If young people prosper, our country will thrive. In order to do that, I think we have to start educating our young people since they are little. We have to instill in them the correct understanding of our country's history. We have to proactively integrate ourselves into the overall development of our country. During this past weekend, I brought my children to the Asia World Expo. That was a very nice exhibition. There was a lot of inflation and balloon installations. It was a great place for children. If there could be elements of national and patriotic education, it would make the exhibition even better. Perhaps we can make use of social media platforms as well as other channels and technologies such as AR and VR to help young people learn more about our country. Thank you. I so submit. Ms. Doreen Kong, Deputy President, I thank the current term government for the Policy Address 2025. This year's PA carries on with the theme of moving ourselves from stability to prosperity. There are many breakthroughs in this PA. It shows that under the leadership of Mr. John Lee, the current term government is working in a pragmatic manner. My proposal focuses on one concern, that is to further enhance SAR's governance to meet international standards. I am grateful for this year's PA. In this year's PA, the government spared a large part to explain to members of the public how the government will enhance its governance in future. For example, there will be the heads of department accountability system. It will better connect the accountability systems of HODs and senior civil servants. The second measure is that there will be an independent investigation panel to investigate any problems within government departments. Also, the government proposes making better use of AI tools. This shows that the government is trying to ease restrictions and remove barriers. If these measures could be implemented effectively, it would really boost the service quality of government. However, we should not neglect the potential risks. We have to make sure that we have effective risk control. For example, the independent investigation panel can examine civil servants of all ranks. However, we lack the details of how to ensure the transparency and independence of the investigation panel. Without sorting out these details, there would be questions about the credibility of the panel. Also, it's great to make use of AI. However, if we lack the relevant ethics and framework, we will end up making use of technology for the sake of it. So the government has to be vigilant about this. We should ensure that reforms can go beyond structural reform. This is the last year of the current legislative term. This is going to be the last debate on this year's PA. I am happy that we have the opportunity to study the issues in Hong Kong. I'd like to spend some time on how the PA is going to help Hong Kong realize reforms. Last week, I spent some time in the Legislative Library and I looked at the PAs of different years. I looked at the format of the previous PAs. I also looked at the wordings used, and there is major difference between the previous PAs and this PA. In the past, because of the government structure, the PA was announced at the same time with the budget. There were great details. For example, for building management, there was a dedicated chapter. However, the downside is that there was a lack of participation of the public. After we returned to the motherland, the chief executive has started delivering the policy address to the public. The chief executive has been reporting the government's work progress to the Legislative Council. In terms of the wording, we see that there is greater emphasis on integrating ourselves into the overall development of our country, as well as the people's livelihood. This is because there is a change in the constitutional status as well as the historical role of Hong Kong. It shows that we keep advancing under one country, two systems with the new landscape. We should not stop here. Moving forward, there could be greater reforms for the PA. It could return to its original status. That is, it should be the major communication channel between the public and the government annually. The public does not only wish to see grand blueprints in the PA. We want to learn about how the government is going to upgrade the development of industries, help our young people as well as the elderly. We want to see clear pathways on how we can achieve that. However, in reality, government reports always have scattered points. It covers strategies and resource allocations, and there is a lack of prioritization target from the government. We should move with the times. We need reforms, and we need the public consent. Well, we can move towards two directions. On one hand, we have to ensure that we can implement the policy initiatives in the PA. We should do away with the chapters. We should focus on the long-standing issues in Hong Kong. We should do away with clumsy wording. As we described our grand goals and targets, we should come up with clear targets. We should come up with concrete steps on how we can achieve our goals. Lastly, I am proposing a reform on PA because it is an important part of our city. A successful document like the PA lies in whether it can allow its readers, that is, the members of the public in Hong Kong, to grasp immediately the major points and highlights. With reforms being our focus, the PA should be the vehicle that delivers the clear messages from the administration. It is only by doing so that we can inject new impotence to the reform and future development of Hong Kong. I'll give further remarks in the next session. I so submit. Thank you.